Welcome back, traders, to another insightful session of Trading the Dream. Today we have a special treat for you as we sit down with senior trader Henry, who we have here, who has graciously joined us all the way from the London offices to here at our Cyprus Axia office. Henry's expertise and recent achievements in achieving his first seven-figure year make this conversation not just timely, but incredibly valuable for anyone aspiring to succeed in the trading world. So first of all, Henry, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Before we dive into the journey and insights, you must tell us, you've been here for a couple of weeks now in the Cyprus offices from London. Just let us know how you're finding it. How do you find the offices? What's been your experience here?
Yeah, no, it's lovely. I mean, coming from London, it's nice to have some sun finally, which is good, fighting the tan and the burn. So sun, trading that needle is quite hard. Indeed. But no, it's lovely. The lifestyle out here is brilliant. The office is lovely. Like, can't complain when you've got a pool and gym on site. So.
Yeah, exactly. The facilities do help, especially with sitting down all day,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think a great place to start with this chat that we're having and the introductions is if you could share with us how you first started, first got into the trading industry and what drew you to the career path and how did your journey unfold in the early days?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I always kind of knew I wanted to go into some form of like trading, hedge fund, finance. Like it's what my dad's always done was accounting. Yeah. So I always had like finance in my blood. Always been good with numbers and always sucked at English. So it kind of only had one route really to go down. Yeah. But I mean, I started in an asset manager in London. That was my first ever job, and I quit after 2 weeks. Yeah, just couldn't cope. Like this 9 to 5 just was not for me at all. Where it was like upper corporate ladder, had to kiss everyone's bum, sort of like it was just not my vibe at all. And sort of try to find somewhere that would teach me to trade. Right, I was the same as like every other sort of retail trader. I was just punting on on the screen, not really knowing what was going on, drawing chart lines, and, constantly just like pissing away money while I was trying to find another job, and eventually ended up finding a job at a place called Tower with a group of guys called Spinnaker, who were very, very news based, and they took me on as their runner. I got paid a small sort of like lunch salary to cover my lunch every day, but it was come in, get them lunch, learn from them, and eventually, the promise was they'd take me live and you just teach me to trade. And that was basically how I started out. And they taught me how to trade news.
Amazing. And so that was your first step, and it was good that you were in that. Was it the investment company?
Yeah.
You were there for like 2 weeks, so you already knew to kind of like it wasn't for me. That's a great place, great place to be, right? So you knew your journey. Now, moving on from that, and then your journey into Axia itself. You've been with Axia for some time now?
This is my third year at Axia.
Third year, right, amazing. So, I mean, could you share with us how your journey unfolded to Axia and particularly any significant milestones that you had along the way?
Yeah, I think the big one was obviously I started at a different firm, different company, with a small group of guys, and was doing very well there, having my best year on years, like really growing aggressively. And I kind of figured I needed to be around sort of like additional traders. We were a very small group. I have a lot of love for those guys. All of them are at Axia now, as it happens anyway. Yeah. But they took me under their wing and they taught me everything they knew. But it sort of became a process of, you never want to be the only guys doing what you're doing. You're like the biggest fish in the pond. So it was trying to find someone else. And, Dem's videos are quite prevalent in sort of the industry about, the sort of size he pushes and the numbers he pushes. So that was sort of like a big eye opener for me. I was like, okay, this is the place to be. I need to be with these sort of guys because, that's what I want to be doing. Yeah. So, that was sort of the pivot into Axia was, I remember meeting Hayward and he was like, yeah, look, we'll have you come on if you want. And I was like, no, this is for me. And I think I had my worst ever day, first day at Axia. Yeah. Immediately thought, oh my God, I cannot trade. I cannot trade. I'm gonna have to go back to these guys I've just, binned off. And have to learn to trade again. But no, it was all sort of, environment adjusted, learning curve. But yeah, no, Axia is great. And I think like it was a lot more active environment. Yeah. And a lot more different edges, whereas I came from a singular edge place where we all did the same thing, all had identical plans. Whereas Axia, there's a lot more cross-current views, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I understand also you had a very notable achievement of correct me if I'm wrong, of your first six-figure day early in your time with Axia. Yeah.
So that was a big achievement for me. Yeah.
How did that experience impact your growth as a trader just from that alone?
I think like that was sort of the obviously as most traders will go through their careers, they'll figure out sort of the buzz of sort of like the first achievement of your first like 4-figure day, 5-figure day, 6, and then ideally one day you get the 7 or maybe lucky enough to get an 8-figure day sort of achievement. But it just shows you sort of reminds you what's possible. Like there's a reason I do push every day. It's very easy to get comfortable, I think,
Yeah.
in this sort of job. Like, no one's going to turn their nose up at making 10 grand a day, right? Like, it's incredible money.
Yeah.
But then you're starting to think, well, guys are making 7 figures in a day. No reason I can't really make 6, or, if these guys are making 6, there's no reason I can't be making 50.
Yeah.
And you've got to, I think, like, it helps to reframe when you do finally break those barriers and you're like, oh, well, I can do this.
Yeah.
So now I should do this more regularly. Like, what I did today was a great trade. So just do this more often. Do that exact process and iterate it again.
Yeah. And just sort of learning to push that barrier.
Just constantly like breaking those glass ceilings. I think because it's very easy to set those around you where you're like, oh, this is the size I trade. This is the money I make. This is a good month, and this is an okay month, or this is a bad month. And I think there's no reason you can't bring bad months closer to that baseline of 0, or even like positive, and you can't bring the ceilings of your good months like even further up. And, there's no reason to cap yourself at whatever those are at the moment.
And that growth is like
exactly,
vital, right? To just keep growing. Amazing. I mean, that's gold right there. I mean, achieving such success early on must have been obviously very validating, as you said. I mean, how did that milestone influence your approach to trading and set the stage for reaching your first 7-figure year?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a weird one. I think like there's been points in my career where I've been like incredibly P&L focused. Yeah. And for me, that has helped. I know a lot of traders like try and lean away from that, and I can see why as you become more experienced, because it's not a very healthy obsession to have, especially once you sort of start to achieve these sort of bigger number years and bigger number days. But I think it just reminded me of sort of why you do all this work outside of the screens, or why you come in early, or you prep for things, or I used to spend, most of my Saturdays like debriefing the trades when I was early on in my career, like really trying to nail down and like practicing like my edge, which is obviously news. I was trying to practice reaction times, trying to practice, whether speed reading, like so I could get fast from the headlines and stuff. Yeah. And it reminded me of sort of like, it validates that effort that you put in, because otherwise sometimes you don't get the reward, and you start to think, oh, is it really worth, giving up my Saturday when I already give up 5 days a week in the office and I already work 14-hour days, and it's like, okay, well, this is, it's not worth it. But then you get these sort of like these moments of just like pure sort of validation. You're like, yeah, it was all worth it. Yeah. And I think those really help. Yeah,
that's huge. I mean, like one thing that because I'm still obviously very new into the career path, and it's coming in on a Saturday for me or a Sunday. Yeah. I mean, like I've got 2 young kids, so I kind of give the day to them on the weekends. But once they're in bed, I'll come here either on a Saturday night or Sunday night and review that week. And just recently, I had a pretty tough week, and it's hard, although I'm debriefing every day, to kind of get that exoteric look of it, and then on that weekend just kind of reviewing the trades and just sort of trying to develop or see a pattern and try and fix it, and having those days and associating it to it, because the days are long and they can kind of roll in, so having that extra day on a weekend and just debriefing is,
I think it gives you a different perspective on the trade as well, because I find like I can debrief a trade during the week or even immediately after it, but I'm not debriefing it from like an unbiased logical perspective. I'm debriefing it from exactly what I saw and felt at the moment, which is normally not always correct. So it's like, okay, well, I can't give this a fair shot at what it needs to be, which is like a proper debrief. So doing that, after you've been to the gym on a Saturday morning, you've had like a couple of hours to yourself, and you can approach it from a very sort of like new sort of mindset,
unbiased.
Yeah,
mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah. Amazing. Let's move on to your current trading edge, if I may. I mean, can you describe your current trading edge and how it's evolved over the past couple of years? And is your edge always iterating and becoming more specialized?
Yeah, so my edge, I think, as most people would probably say, is sort of like the ability to get into and out of markets like incredibly quickly, and just being generally informed as to what's going on. I don't shy away from any opportunity in any market. Like if there's a book or I think there's an opportunity in that market, I want to be incredibly informed, and I want to have limits in that market to be ready to go for it, even if I think it's the smallest off chance. So that's always been sort of how I've capitalized, is sort of being like first mover in some weird market where everyone else is like still trying to get limits in that market because there's something see it's moving, and I'm like, well, no, I've had limits for the last 6 months waiting for something like this. And I think that's always sort of been quite good, but obviously in news-based environments where I'm particularly strong, we've obviously been lacking that at the moment. Like there's a lack of themes, there's a lot of like rangy sort of technical plays where I've never maybe not bothered is the wrong description, but never found the appropriate time to give to learning a proper technical side of my trading, mainly because you need to do it really at screens. All I'm doing it on a Saturday, but you have to actually commit time to paying attention when markets are open while it's playing out. To see sort of the minutiae of the actual trade. And it's never arguably been worth the time to do that because it's been so busy news-wise, right? But markets are very cyclical. So this is sort of the point where, there is a lot more technical side playing out. It's quiet during the day. You can sort of, spend time debriefing, watching these technical patterns play out, really like analyze them in the moment as they play out and be like, okay, well, how is it acting around this exact level in the moment? Because I think that's where a lot of traders go wrong. And, well, at least I find it quite difficult in the technical side. It's all I'm good at seeing a finished candle. But the problem is you're going to click out in the minutiae of the candle as it prints, right? And I think, for me, I need to watch how it actually interacts while I'm sitting there in a trade and it's wanging around and I'm going from green to red to green, going further offside. And I'm like, well, no, I need to trust this. It's difficult just to trust that when all you see in your mind is a red candle print after 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, because like for me, when I came to Axia, I mean, I was a very, say technical trader. I did the same thing, drawing like 100 lines on the screen, think I was like Da Vinci or something. And, coming in and learning sort of like the macro stuff, the news, obviously it was really new to me. Right? And it was, I've mentioned it in other videos and I kind of call it like my strongest weakness or more weakest strength, right? So it's the one thing that I know I want to work on. And actually, I remember watching one of your videos on the Blueprint program where you talk about the, Twitter and looking at the news. And that was actually my catalyst to really, because once I kind of laid out, my screens and got everything set up, that's when I really started to pay attention. But going on to a different question here, with someone like me, I'm more technical focused and I want to get more into news. And you said the environment's obviously quite different now. And we're getting more opportunities for these sort of technical plays in that sense. How would you say is good to kind of still keep a foot into the news arena and to sort of still trying to keep working on it?
Yeah, I think that the best way is the same sort of like the way most people look at technicals is like, the pattern recognition. I treat news very similar to that. Where for me, I believe, I can just generate the news headline sort of in my head, and I can even write them out. Early days, I used to write out every news headline I think that could possibly come across. Obviously, it was different. Like you had notable themes going on, so it was much easier to think what was in play and what was going to come out. Just thinking like the big ad hoc stuff, or even just like small things you might be in play. At the moment, there's the Israel-Hamas ceasefire somewhere in limbo on the cards, but. You could get, several headlines out of that you could generate, which is like, okay, they agree a deal. It's like, what are you going to do? How's that going to be worded across your wires? Like, what's your first trade going to be? You don't get to see it play out in real time, but you can have a rough guess of what it's going to do, like how it's going to be worded, and you can sort of go off that and
visualize your approach to how you would like tackle the trade, and where the markets could go and stuff like that. Because that was also something I remember you talking about, like the speed in your hands, and just keep kind of working.
It's just because you can't get the reps in pure 100%, but you can get 80%, 90% of the rep is there. Like it won't be as good as the real thing. Trading that headline a million times, but it gets you pretty damn close.
And that power of visualization is huge anyway, right? Just kind of like just mentally preparing.
It gives you confidence to like perform in the moment because it's almost like you've done it 100 times.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So now moving on, actually sticking to the same thing. I mean, I distinctly remember watching the live Zoom call that we had with you, which was why the Axia Blueprint 12-month coaching program, where you spoke about the Bank of Japan sources.
Yes.
And the very next morning, that Monday morning, it came out and you made a 6-figure on that trade, right? Can you briefly describe how you approached that trade and what factors contributed to its success? Because I remember watching it live and then watching the environment. It'll be great to kind of get your take on it.
I think this is one of those ones where you have a very like theme focus in play, and for me, I was like, it very much felt like the market had got the messaging wrong from the Bank of Japan, and it felt like it needed a correction. It's one of those sort of those moments where I think experience comes into play a lot, where you're like, oh, I know this is going to get corrected. I'm just adamant it has to get corrected, and it will happen at some point. And, it's putting yourself in a position to be there. Like that next morning, I was in at 5 a.m. Like already at my desk, sitting there for 2 hours before it came out. Whereas, there's no real reason to be there at 5 a.m. on a Monday morning unless you really believe something's going to be coming out. But it was just this sort of like, I'd played out, as we said about the visualization, I played it out sort of 100 times in my head, the exact wording that could come out, exact like product selection, amount of clips I was going to put in, which order I was going to hit, how far I wanted it to go. And it was arguably the quickest I've ever made that amount of money because I was in the trade for exactly 30 seconds.
Really?
But it was literally, everything went to exactly the level I thought it was going to go to instantly in that blip. And I went, well, the trade's done for me. Just everything blipped to where I thought it was going to go and clicked out. The market didn't continue anywhere else. Like that was the exact move. But maybe it would have played out differently where it would have like ground up and I would have had to hold and sit through it. But like, just having that plan of like action that in the moment I wasn't flustered. It was a level of subconscious going into it, which is like, what you're doing, this is going to happen. If this comes across, my brain and my body's already wired to go for it. Right?
Yeah.
So there's no brain lag to kick in.
Yeah, and you practiced again that visualization of just doing it right. And that was incredible, because that was a big moment for me where, you know, we had that live Zoom call. I was kind of not say read, but I was plugged into this whole BOJ stuff and trying to kind of get my head around it. And I was doing a few other early morning starts, especially when you don't know the time where it could be and stuff. And it was just, I mean, I didn't, you know, take the trade on it, but it was just great to kind of just sort of watch what was happening. And just, again, from my perspective, you know, going through the coaching program, watching that live Zoom call with you and putting all these pieces together was hugely valuable. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
All right. So, I mean, looking ahead, Henry, what aspects of your trading are you looking to improve on in the coming years? How different of a trader are you today compared to, you know, those years ago?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously best years, best days, sort of the easy answers, right? I mean, but from a more personal sort of standpoint, I think it's finding sort of a way to sort of like slowly improve without always sort of holding your feet over the fire. Like I think like a lot of like traders, like, you know, grads, you know, you have to deal with the exponential learning curve. And as a sort of a more experienced trader, it's trying to eke sort of bad habits or find edge where, you know, you've already sort of taken a lot of the low-hanging fruit out of the equation. So you've really got to put a lot of effort into where maybe you feel uncomfortable. For example, I don't like drawdown a lot. I've never really had to experience it because of I've traded news, right? And it's very like directional binary. But technical is a lot of, you know, whipping about, like letting it play out. It's time exposure in the trade, which for me I'm very uncomfortable with. So it's, you know, slowly trying to get better at that for me. You know, improve my technical side, increasing sizes. Is stuff that I think, like, for me is notable on the actual trading front. And then the personal side of it, which is, you know, trying to find a healthy balance between trading and, because, you know, trading, I think in your early years you have to be obsessed with. I mean, most of us are still obsessed with it, but I think once you get through the exponential curve of the learning phase, you do need to start trying to figure out how to not burn out as hard, especially in periods like this where it does very much feel like you're banging your head against the wall. And, you know, it's easy to get frustrated, and then, you know, you slip up, process starts to fall apart. You know, I'm incredibly guilty of that. You know, like it's very easy, you know, to run big down days on absolutely nothing out of pure frustration because you treat the market like a casino and you lose all discipline. So
all the lights flashing.
Exactly. Well, that's what it is. You know, it's like the monkey brain lights up and you're like, this is great. Then you realize, you know, this actually has like real consequences, and this is a job. It's not you to come play with some money every time you go to Vegas. You know, otherwise you wouldn't be around very long.
Tokens.
Well, exactly. And, it doesn't feel too real, you know, on the screen. And then at the end of the day, you look at it and you go, that was a lot of money today, you know, like on some silly stuff. So I'd like to slowly become like more disciplined and cut a lot more of the rubbish out of my trading, which it's a very slow and painful process because it's a very sort of personal thing, that sort of side of it, which is, you know, whether it's bad habits, you know, and like lifelong ingrained habits sort of thing where, you know, you lack discipline in certain parts. And I actually, you know, I love that about, I mean, the whole series is that I do, you know, on the channel is trading the dream. And, you know, coming in at, you know, my age with the kids and stuff, you know, I'm trading, the whole idea of this and the whole mentality was I'm trading everything for this. You know, that comfortable 9 to 5 thing, you know, the time with family and stuff. But like you said, it's that obsession. And exactly. You know, I'm here to do that and trying to get control of that. And throughout this whole journey, and I'm sure it's happening, and like it is for you, and it's always happening. You're always having that reflection of yourself, right? And having to work on that inner workings of yourself, which I find fascinating. It's a challenge, right? It's just not easy.
It's and it's constant. Amazing, right? So, I mean, one of the many advantages of being on the trading floor here at Axia Futures that has stood out to me anyway is the value of collaboration and learning, right? Because I came from, you know, trying to trade at home on a desk by myself, banging my head against the wall. It was so insane. You know, how has working in a team environment like Axia contributed to your success? And can you share any specific instances where collaboration has proven beneficial in your trading journey?
I mean, I think the great thing about Axia sort of as a whole is the sheer experience you're around, right? Like, you know, you're playing with the best of the best. And, you know, these are guys you can lean on because it's not like you've got to trust some random guy who, you know, has never traded before, has never put, you know, money where it matters. So you can lean on these guys' opinions and like the calls they make. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I'll come in with an opinion and, you know, hear from another couple of guys and be like, I'm not sure about that one. You start to like think, well, you know, I was pretty strong in this opinion. You know, sometimes that's right. You know, you need to back yourself. But there are times where, you know, if I've got 2 or 3 other really senior traders telling me, it's like, no, I'm not sure I agree with that. It does rein you back a bit and think, maybe I need to have a look at this again. Maybe I am wrong, you know, maybe I wasn't correct in taking this trade. I think like Axia is great for that, like, you know, sort of the hive mind sort of vibe where, you know, everyone feeds off each other, and you know, you build this like very rock solid image of what's going to go on, what's going to happen. You know, it's sort of like and what's good, you know, people, you know, they do what they say they're going to do as well. Like it's like live by the sword, die by the sword sort of environment where it's like, now we're all going to go for this, and you know, everyone went for this. You know, like, you know, what you did was right that day because you had the best of the best doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, maybe we didn't make money that day, but you know, 9 times out of 10, you iterate that, we're all going to make money. Yeah.
So, and I love that. And one of the things that Alex has used before, phrases that cross-pollination of minds, right? And it's again coming back, you know, from like I guess a lot of traders do, you know, when they're trading at home on their own, trying to work it out and lick their wounds every day because they don't know what's going on wrong, and watching the gurus, right, the YouTube gurus, and all of that. And then when I came here and just being, you know, having access to, like you said, you know, traders, and having you here and having access to you and the workshops, and just being able to look at things from a different mindset and how everyone trades slightly different.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And it's just been hugely.
It helps you condense the learning curve, because the way I always describe it to anyone who asks, like Hayward, is you know, these guys have, you know, they've waded through the shit of the forest, and you know, they cut down all the trees with their machetes. You know, so you get to like run along that path to meet them, and then therefore you get to the same point a lot quicker. And these guys spend 15 years cultivating this career. And they're, you know, there are guys who, you know, can run along it in sort of 3 or 4 years, catch up, and you're both wading through the same shit together now. And it's like, you know, like there's no reason, like, you know, that's what's great about it. Like
that's such
big sharing like mindset.
Yeah, that is such a massive advantage, right? It's like, you know, like you said, you know, these guys are making, you know, have made certain mistakes and cross these journeys, and you can learn that, and almost not shortcut, but you're almost kind of like just getting a path that's slightly paved out for you now, that it wasn't before, and being able to travel that.
Even just seeing like the destination helps a lot, you know, like because you get a start and an end point, like which makes it imposed, you know. Like, can I do this? Do people do this? Is this possible? And you're sitting around guys who do it on a daily basis, who've done it for years, and you're like, okay, it is possible. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. All right. So, I mean, as we wrap up, Henry, I think it's always good to get some advice for the viewers. I mean, what advice would you give to traders who are aspiring to achieve similar success? Are there any specific habits or mindsets that you believe are crucial for sustained profitability in trading? I think perseverance is a big one. It's easy to just think it's not working, right? I mean, it's easy to lose money every day because, you know, you are applying risk, and, you know, sometimes it doesn't always work, but it's persevering with the idea that, you know, like this is a career that does work. Even in the hard times, you just need to sort of persevere, as, you know, Ollie would famously say, like sharpen the axe, like slowly get better at certain things, and they will pay off in the long run. And not to, you know, get to, you know, it's even senior traders, like, you know, in London, we can sometimes get pretty negative about, you know, markets, but it's because, you know, we've had 2, 3, 4 years of very good markets. We've done very well. And, you know, you come back to markets like this where it's hard, and you actually think, well, it's actually only been like 2, 3 months. You know, we had 4 years of just insane markets, and now we're all super depressed about market conditions. But none of us are absolutely like, you know, doing our arse, you know, taking massive dingers. We're just not making loads of money. You know, and sometimes it's like reframing that perspective of like, okay, it will work out in the end. So I think like a big thing is just like persevering and like positive attitude through it. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely negative, like way more often than I'd like to be. But you know, that's again like a personal thing that needs working on. So I think persevere, and just give it the time for it to play out. Like it will work if you do the right stuff long enough. Amazing.
All right, well, Henry, I don't want to take too much of your time. We'll get back to a bit of an afternoon. So thank you so much for sharing your journey.
Thank you, mate.
I really appreciate it, and of course your expertise with us, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Either if I want to come back to the London office, because I went to the London office just a few weeks ago. That was when you first came here, or back over here, right?
Indeed, hopefully I'll be out a couple more times.
Amazing. And to our viewers, I hope you found today's discussion as enlightening as I did. If you've got any other questions or topics that you'd like me to raise or explore further, please don't forget to leave them in the comments below, and happy trading. Thanks.